right, so here I am in New England. It is a very blustery day. Winds are like going at like 90 miles an hour. It's like a hurricane out there. It's not quite that bad, but the rain's coming down. I'm actually hearing a lot of ambulances, but then again, I live in a city where and there's ambulances all the time, so I don't really know if that has any kind of correlation to this. But I've heard that shingles are flying off of roofs, and people have been warned not to uh, be outside unless you have to be. And I'm going to the circus later today. Uh, so yeah, so I'm gonna do a quick little preview. We're gonna go to see Circa S, so circus, and it looks like a modern circus with people not so much in circus gear, but in modern gymnastics clothing. All in almost like an athletic uniform, doing acrobatics. That's what it looks like so far, and it looks pretty exciting. I love this stuff. I'm gonna go check it out. And I don't know. I just missed my calling. I should have been a carny. Uh, I did spend some years hawking for games that I owned at Renaissance Festival, so I kind of feel like I could have been a pretty good carny back in the day. So now onto the topic at hand. Um, I put it down as hating on Black Panther. So this was a controversy again. I'm kind of late to the subject, but I thought I'd address it because it was something that kind of just came up today. The total that Black Panther has made, and on Rotten Tomatoes, Black Panther had a perfect 100 score just before it came out, and then somebody gave it one or two bad reviews, um, and people kind of lost their mind, like, "Oh my God, this movie was supposed to be perfect." I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think it's a good movie. I pointed out there were things I liked about it, things I didn't like. Some of the characters are really cool, and that I hope to see more of Black Panther in Infinity War, and he's probably going to get a sequel. I think that sequel will probably take place less in Wakanda and probably more in the United States. You heard it here first. A little bit of a spoilers. They ended the movie by bringing Wakanda to the United States. So I think that the next Black Panther will probably deal maybe more with American issues, or just be an American movie, kind of like the Avengers are, and maybe even involve, who knows, Doctor Strange. Maybe we'll have Captain America team up with Black Panther. Who knows? The Infinity War may change everything, or it may change very little, and we'll still see the things that we saw. I think a Black Panther Spider-Man crossover could happen. Who knows? The MCU has done things that no other movie has done, and combined characters that we never thought we'd ever see together on the big screen. So those are my predictions for it. But I'm going to pull up the numbers right now. To date, I'm going to pull these up now. The numbers. Black Panther has made $763 million worldwide. Okay. So nobody hates Black Panther. Everyone's going to see this movie. Unless it was banned in your country, hopefully you've gone to see Black Panther. So this idea that like there's a small group of people that dislike the film, I think they can be pretty well ignored. Like everyone, people are always going to hate something for some reason. Like I said, I found flaws with the movie, but I still like the movie, and some people might have thought that those flaws are a little difficult to overcome. But I think that the exaggeration or the outrage over a few people disliking this movie are just ludicrous and absurd. So I think there's more of an overreaction to that. Um, I'm going on Tim Pool now, and Tim Pool's I watch his podcasts and so forth. He's an interesting fellow, a news reporter more so than a commentator, but he estimates that like the membership in the Ku Klux Klan is 6,000. I think he based that on the Southern Poverty Law Center, and then he thinks there's only like an equal amount of like white supremacists. Like the groups are not that big. Like that Charlottesville Tiki Torches, that was like 300 people, right? And there's only like maybe like they do a white supremacy rally. There's like 600 people total. There's like 20,000 of these people in the whole country. They can't change a local election. They barely were able to change Rotten Tomatoes. Even if they did, it was probably just people who didn't like certain aspects of the film, or that wasn't their genre. They just didn't like superhero movies. Who knows? But my point is that like I think we can just universally declare that Black Panther was a huge success, and that for the most part it was universally well received. And if there's this small group of people that disliked it for its political view, they're a very small group of people, like very very few people. A movie doesn't make $700 million without being just really well done and not being political. I mean, we can't. Like, let me put it to you this way. Like, more people probably went and saw Black Panther than voted for our last president. I mean, think about that for a second. Like, more people in the world like this movie than like our current administration, and for that matter, the other candidate. So it's like you have to look at it as like this movie is much more of a uniting force and a uniting factor. So I'm just declaring this here that nobody hates Black Panther. Like if you don't like this movie, that's your personal choice. I don't have a problem with you, but I don't think you dislike it for its political point or for any kind of identity politics that you're attempting to interject into this film. We've had like now like I think 18 movies, with maybe Infinity War's the 18th, but we're coming up on like a lot of these MCU movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and like there's something for everybody. Like um, now the one thing I can say is that they haven't done an all-female film. They, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. They've obviously had very interesting female characters, but so far they have not done a major female character. Many people think Storm from the X-Men should be the next one. Storm's one of the best characters in the Marvel universe, and I think Halle Berry played her well in the movies and so forth. And then now they have a new Storm that just kind of debuted in the new X-Men and Apocalypse, which really wasn't a great movie, but I'm not reviewing that one. And so maybe this movie with Black Panther will say, hey, you know what? People will watch a movie about a character from Africa because Storm is from Africa. I'll give some spoilers away for those of you that don't read the comic books. There's a romance that goes on between T'Challa and Aurora Monroe, Storm from the X-Men. I'm not going to give away too much more other than that, but they're both from Africa, and they're both kind of essentially leaders in their tribe, although Storm was considered like a goddess because she could control the weather, and then she becomes an X-Men and actually becomes a leader of the X-Men. In the 80s, I would like to point this out that a female black woman was the leader of the X-Men in the 80s. When I was reading comic books as a kid, she was the member, was it X-Men Gold? There's X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue. I forget which one she was the member of. But one was led by Scott Summers, who was Cyclops, who was the traditional leader. He'd been the leader since the team had begun. Went off and did X Factor. The X Factor became a different group of people. Went back to the X-Men, became the leader of the X-Men of one team, while Storm was the leader of the other teams. So they had like two teams going for a while, Blue and Gold. So it's like she's more than earned her chops. And so this is me saying, but of course, right now the X-Men are separate from the MCU, but maybe they're going to get united because the buyout of Paramount Studios by Disney. So we could see, cross your fingers, perhaps a romance between Storm and T'Challa somewhere in the future. So two African characters would be a major female movie for Marvel to do, because Wonder Woman came out, and I think that's the best DC Comics universe movie so far. And Man of Steel was okay. Batman versus Superman, I don't know. I haven't seen the extended cut, and then Justice League was just like I felt like it was a mess, and it was the same plot as Batman versus or Man of Steel. Some aliens coming to turn Earth into another world, and that's bad. So that's it. I mean, I think I think we've proven that there's very few people who are opposing this. So I think that's really cool, and we're going to rock on and see more of Black Panther in the Infinity War. And who knows, maybe we'll see some X-Men in future Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that we can fold them into. And like I said, a Storm and Black Panther movie could happen. It could really be there. We never thought we'd see Spider-Man in the MCU, and they worked out a deal to get them going in that. So, all right. Well, that's it. I'm off to see Circa S, and we'll have a review up on that sometime tomorrow, probably late after I get back from the job. Right. Like the channel, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll see you down the road.